Hello, and welcome to a Real Talk with Tanya White book reading. Listen, it is Black Friday shopping up on us this Friday, holiday season. And why not give the gift of reading a wonderful book? And why not give the gift of reading a wonderful book by somebody you know? Me, Tanya White. And so I am having a Black Friday 3-book bundle sale for my book, Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much, The Battle Behind My Smile, and Professionally Lynched. You get all 3 of these, or you can get 3 of the same for $35. All right? And why should you buy these wonderful books by Tanya White? Because they're from my heart. So this book is about grief, particularly the loss of my dad, my mom, and Stefan. This book, The Battle Behind My Smile, is a compilation book, an anthology with 16 authors, men and women, on the back that tells stories, personal testimonies of triumph in the midst of private trauma, and professionally lynched. Talks about revealing system-wide workplace injustices and healing from the lifelong trauma it causes everyone. Because workplace trauma does not only impact the employee, it impacts everyone who's connected to the employee, both in the workplace and in their family. So, what I want to do is read a real quick excerpt from each one. Remember, all 3 books are $35, and did I say they're free shipping? All right, $35 for all 3 books, or you can get 3 of the same books and give them as gifts for $35. Let's cash out me at LaTanya White. The cash out sign LaTanya White, LTANYA, White is the color, and then email me your mailing address at Tanya@TanyaWhite.com. So let me read an excerpt from Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much, and I will sign these. Just a general autograph. All right, I will sign these. I'm going to start on the lessons from one of my Garden of Gethsemane moments. It's on page 14. All right, 14 of the Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving Availeth Much. I hope this blesses you. All right, it says, when my mother was dying from stage 4 lung cancer, I endured several moments like Jesus. I submitted prayer requests to every church prayer ministry I was led to connect with. During every visit to the hospital, I anointed and prayed with my mother and for every medical staff member who took care of her. Trust me, I saturated every moment of every single day that cancer was killing my mama. The type of prayer mentioned in James 5:16b, the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. But much to my heartbreaking dismay, this righteous and grieving daughter's prayers were not bringing supernatural healing to my beloved mother. On the contrary, the frequency of her organs shutting down and hearing cold blue, followed by my mother's hospital room number, significantly increased during the last few months of her earthly life. However, I kept my faith focused and intentional. My Garden of Gethsemane occurred in March 2005 during my mother's lung cancer battle. Evangelist Rita Twiggs was the special guest at a church I visited that morning. I was desperately seeking supernatural healing for my mother. God allowed me to hear stories of other saints receiving healing through the prayers and support of others. Evangelist Twiggs' sermon title escapes me, yet the encounter I experienced that day later stayed with me. I still feel the drops of water that saturated my feet as I lay prostrate at the church altar, pouring out my sorrow to my sovereign God. Your latter days will be greater. This was the phrase that ended the guest preacher's altar prayer. Then I felt the water dripping on my feet. Could this be a divine sign that God was going to heal Mama? Were the last 5 months of anguish, anxiety, and uncertainty concerning our dear mother finally ending? Later that evening, after my daily hospital visit with Mama, I cried all the way home. There had been no change, even following the powerful prayer I poured out at the altar during worship. As I departed the life-altering service, my spirit was soothed yet unsettled. The woman who gave me life was in a battle she was losing. It had been 2 months since we could verbally communicate with Mama. When she coded in January, they put her on a ventilator. From that day forward, my mother lost her ability to speak. So my visit with my visit after my encounter at the altar was a huge letdown. Like Jesus felt when he stood up for the first time after his Gethsemane prayer, the disappointment grappled me. No, I wasn't irritated by people and not asked anyone to watch and pray with me. My requests were directed at God. At that moment, while I drove home in my mind, he was not living up to his promise declared in the Bible. Tears continued to blind me. I entered my house silently, trying to cover up that I was crying. I did not want my sister to observe my distraught demeanor and think the worst had happened to our mother. I retreated to our basement in the storage room. A quiet and prolonged wailing commenced. I could not control my sobbing. Pleading for Mama's healing accompanied my tears. My Garden of Gethsemane moment in my basement quickly turned into hours of conversations with the Lord. I reminded him of his promises. I recalled all the religious activities and impact my mother, Irma Jean English White, had demonstrated throughout her life. Again, my spirit was soothed yet unsettled. I dried my tears, paraphrasing what Jesus recited to God in the garden. My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me by healing Mama. Yet not as I will, but as you will. Exactly 2 weeks after my basement encounter, my beloved sweet mother gained her ticket to heaven. I was completely and utterly devastated. Obedience while grieving in your designated experience will often be lonely. Of course, God will allow you to have a support system around you. You will have counselors and therapists on your life team who will guide and embrace you. Although you will be surrounded by people you trust, there are moments that God will require you to walk alone. All right? So that was from the prayers of the righteous and grieving availeth much. All right? Let me read a little from The Battle Behind My Smile. Okay? The Battle Behind My Smile. And this is on page 217. This section is July 27th, 2021, the night that forever changed my life. June 7th, 2021, I began my summer job. I hated leaving Stefan that morning because he had been in severe pain the entire weekend. Something was not right. He slept most of the day and could barely sit comfortably. I thought he would get better with medicine and rest. Thursday of that same week, he finally called his doctor. I overheard the conversation on his speakerphone. They strongly encouraged him to go to the emergency room. Let's go was my quick response as he ended his call. Stefan tried to convince me that he didn't need to go to the hospital that moment. However, I refused to let him win this battle. He eventually complied with the instructions of his doctors. After they examined him, they admitted him. They explained that Stefan needed a simple procedure to drain the fluid from around his belly. It was scheduled for the next day. The next day, even though it was June 10th, it felt like emotionally Friday the 13th. Sadly, the doctors decided it was not fluid buildup, which made Stefan feel uncomfortable. His cancer had come back and spread to other organs throughout his body. Consequently, medically, they predicted that he would die within the next year. They suggested hospice palliative care. It broke our hearts. Stefan apologized profusely to me as if this new diagnosis were in his control. Facing death, he worried about my life. His apologetic conversation continued as he assured me he would fight to the end. He didn't need to apologize for anything, though. I told him that we knew God brought us together. I assured him that the Lord would keep us through this as well. Love is love through sickness and health, through the good and the bad times. With the reality of his death coming sooner than we thought, we began to live like never before. Through his hospice care at home, our dependency increased. He depended on me, I depended on him. We both depended on each other and God. July 27, 2021, I spent most of the evening in bed with Stefan, talking to him, watching television as he slept on and off. I had briefly gotten up off the bed to get a glass of water. It was strange. Why didn't I hear him snoring through his sleep machine? I went back into the room to check on him. There was no movement at all. I called his name, no response. I touched him. His lifeless His lifeless arm fell to the side. Less than 5 minutes after going to the kitchen, my beloved Stefan had entered his heavenly resting place. I was peacefully devastated. And so if you all want this book, The Prayers of the Righteous and Grieving, The Battle Behind My Smile, Professionally Lynched, get it. 3-book bundle, $35. Cash out me and then email me to send me your address. All right? Love you guys. Bye.